Hello, I'm Matt and I own a project management consultancy and create videos to show you how I deliver projects. Today I'm going to demonstrate how to build a basic Microsoft project plan from scratch in less than 15 minutes. So I'm going to open Microsoft Project and go to blank project. Now, the concept of today is going to be very simple, how to replace an old garden shed, but the features that we'll cover will include how to set up project plan settings, how to create tasks, assign resources, create costs, include effort and duration, how to link tasks, how to amend the schedule, and how to create milestones. Firstly, some basic plan settings. It's important that tasks are set to auto schedule, which is one of the biggest features of Microsoft Project. So I'm going to go to File, I'm going to go to Options, then I'm going to go to Schedule, and I'm going to make sure that new tasks created is set to auto schedule. Secondly, I'm going to go to Project, I'm going to go to Project Information, and I'm going to set the start date of your project. So it might be something that has already started, it might be something that's happening in the future, but this is the date from by default all tasks will be set to. Now I'm going to select the columns that I need to use, that I need inputs for. So I'm going to I'm going to right click, I'm going to insert column, and I'm going to add in percentage complete, thankfully the first drop down, and I'm going to add in another one called milestone ref. Now, similar to Excel, I've just typed that in. It gives you the option to create custom fields. Further over to the right hand side, and on the right of predecessors, I'm going to insert a column, and that's going to be successors, and I'll talk about that a little bit more. And then finally, I'm going to add in cost, and that's everything I need to get started. So the very first task that you add in is going to be the name of your project. So I'm going to call this shed replacement. That is the name of our project. Now, when I get into building a project plan, I usually like to start with a bit of a brain dump. So essentially, tasks that I know I'm going to need to get there. Now, if you've got a document, a scope list, deliverables, that is exactly what you need, but I don't have a project brief for my shed replacement. So I'm going to start with just scribbling down some of the tasks that I'm going to need to complete. So I am going to need to do some activities with the old shed. I'm going to need to demolish it. I am going to need to empty everything out. I am going to need to clean the area, and I'm going to need a skip. So with my new shed, I am going to need to measure, order, build, paint, and I am going to need to relay some of the grass around. Relay turf. Okay, so that's generally how I would start. Now, what I want to do is the first set of tasks I'm going to go through relates to the old shed. I'm going to highlight those rows and drag them up to the top. I now want to click on task and indent this underneath the first task, and I then want to indent again the tasks below old shed. So you can see shed replacement is the name of the project, and these are the tasks underneath old shed. So to demolish it, to demolish the old shed, it's going to take me 2 days, and I'm going to say that it's going to take me and a friend to do that. To empty it, I'm going to need to do that before I demolish. So I just highlight that row and wait until I get the plus sign and drag the row up. It's going to take me 5 days to empty that. To clean the area, that's something I'm going to do on my own, and that's going to take me 1 day once I've demolished it. Now, a skip. First and foremost, I'm going to need to order a skip. I am then going to need to receive the skip, and only then can I fill the skip. Now those tasks are all subtasks that I want under the header of skip. So you can see that under the old shed, that has a subtask of skip, and under skip, it's got further subtasks. To order a skip, that's going to be something I do. Receive it is going to be something I do. And to fill it, it's going to be something that I do alongside a worker. So to order the skip, it's going to take me 0.25 days. To receive it, it's going to take 5 days. And to fill it, it's going to take 3 days. Now, you can notice that all of those tasks are set to the first day that I dictated via project information. And I'm going to start to build out the timeline. So I mentioned predecessors and successors. These are the opposite sides of the same coin. So I'll give you an example. Before I can demolish the shed, I am going to need to make sure that it's empty. So a predecessor of demolish is empty. So line 3 is a predecessor to line 4. So I'm going to put line 3 in this column, and you can see that automatically populated is a successor. Line 3's successor is line 4. Line 4's predecessor is line 3. This is a really useful feature to get used to because it makes sure that your tasks and your plan is structured correctly. Now, working down the plan, I can only clean the area once the old shed has been demolished. So a predecessor of line 5 is line 4. Now, to order the skip, that can be something that I do right at the very start, but I obviously can't receive that until I've ordered it. And I also can't fill it until I've received it. Now, I also can't fill it until the old shed's been demolished. So this line has 2 predecessors. I like to type them in size order. So I'm going to go 4, 8, and that's going to show that I can only fill the skip once this task has been completed and once this task has been completed. You'll notice that these cells change to blue, which indicate that they've changed as a result of the last input. Now, it's at that point I can say that the old shed activity is complete. So, completion being a milestone, I'm going to change the duration to 0, and that's going to be my first milestone. This is dependent on the area being cleaned, and this is dependent on the skip being filled. So, lines 5 and 9. And now we're ready for the new shed. So I'm going to highlight the tasks that I had below, drag them up, and just start working through them. In the same way that I can indent, I can also outdent. So new shed needs to be the same indentation as old shed, so it needs to come out 1 further. Now, measuring. I want to do that as soon as possible, and that's going to take me 0.25 days. To order, again, that's going to take me 0.25 days. And to build it, I am going to hire another worker, and that's going to take them 5 days. It's going to take that same worker 2 days to paint, and I'm then going to need to relay the turf, but I'm going to pay a gardener to do that. Now, when you're selecting resources, I've just typed them in. You can also use the drop-down function to pick, depending on what your preference is. So as above, I'm now going to work through the predecessors and successors. So I can measure the shed as quickly as I want, and I can order the new shed as quickly as I want. However, I can't build it until it's been ordered. So a predecessor of line 14 is line 13, and I can't paint it until it's being built, so 14 and 15. Finally, I'm not going to relay any turf until the shed has been painted. 15. And you'll see again that column being auto-populated. Now, I am not going to build the new shed until the old one has been completely disposed of. So alongside 13, I also need to add in my milestone of 10 into this, and you can see those dates being adjusted. It's at this point I can say that the activities are complete. That's my second milestone and has 0 duration against it. So what you can see is now I've got the outlines of a timeline. I have got my predecessors and successors set up, and I've got resource names that have been added in. What I want to do now is to understand the costs. So I'm going to go into resource sheet, and I'm going to add in the costs for the individual roles. So myself, my friend are free. Worker 1 is £10 an hour, worker 2 is £20 an hour, and the gardener is very expensive at £30 an hour. So by adding those in, I'm now going to come back to Gantt chart. As we have added in the cost column already, I can see the costs for the individual tasks and the overall project. So what I can see is that the project is going to run from the 13th of January through to the 11th of February and cost £2,560. Now, that's the outline of the plan. So I might need to add in a couple of configurables. So for example, my friend and I are going on holiday. So I'm going to type in to project, into change working time, I'm going to type in holiday. I'm going to say that we are both going away on this date and we are coming back on the 24th. So you'll notice that a task here, so emptying the shed, I can work up until the Friday the 17th, but those activities don't resume until the 27th. For this task, think bank holidays, think non-working days. Next, as I'm working through the project, I'm going to start to update these items. So I'm going to start to update percentage completion. Let's say that I've successfully emptied the shed and I'm 50% of the way through the demolition of it. What you can see now is that for the old shed, we're 37% of the way through that task, as in we've completed that amount of the subtasks, and the overall project, we're 21% of the way through. And that information is all accessible through indentation. So if I was to bring out new shed, you'll notice those percentages go up because new shed is not a subtask of the overall project. So I do want to indent that to make sure that all my totals are correct. One tip for sharing project plans with other team members that don't have project: go to File, Print, and make sure that it's set to PDF. You'll get a quick visual on the right hand side, click Print, and you can see all your pages along here. That's what you're going to get. And that's how I build a basic Microsoft project plan. You can obviously expand that out to account for different products, different deliverables, but they are all the key items and inputs that I would use. I create videos to show how I deliver projects for my clients, and if you're interested in that type of content, please subscribe and follow along. If there are any areas of project management, specifically in planning, that you need help with, please use the comments below and I'll try and create some content to support. Thanks for watching and good luck with your projects.